good morning. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. I'm assuming we're here. Let's see. Face ID, Pat. That's not Josh. Assume everything is well. Let me see. Check the volume. I think we might have been a little bit hot yesterday. Not hot today. It might be a little bit hot. I'm gonna take it down. There we go. I'm gonna go there right there. People of the podcast, let me know how the volume's doing these days, Let me know. Let me know. Welcome to episode 176, Magic in the Apocalypse. It's great to be here. Great to have you guys here. It's a cold day up here on the mountain. The storm has blown through and swept us with a bit of a cold peak. And it's nice and crispy. Nice and crispy. Which would about describe my headspace this week. Good morning, Josh. Good to see you, buddy. Probably describes that pretty well. It has been a whirlwind. It still is, and I'm really excited about this weekend because today, after the afternoon comes, I'm sort of getting like some time off here where there's no speeches, there's no Flattoberfest, there's no books, there's no ordering, there's no correspondence, there's no weird people that drive 2,000 miles away to treat me like shit and then not say goodbye. There's just this whole plethora of things that just aren't here, and I'm looking forward to it. I already feel, in fact, I command that this weekend will be a beautiful, beautiful weekend of brethrenship as we celebrate this full blue moon in Taurus, around a fire with some beautiful folks. And for those of you coming, looking forward to seeing you. And not now there. Lauren, I'm glad I watched the last 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm glad you did too. I'm glad I did. Guys, Dojo yesterday was a board fight. Holy shoot. It was crazy. And there's no way I could even go into it. Except that I'll say that there is such a disservice we do to each other by being nice, by kissing each other's ass, especially men. You know what? I'm even going to just say I don't know how it works with women, because it could be that women kissing each other's ass is almost like nurturing in some weird, who knows? But with men, I tell you, it's like the worst thing you could do to a bunch of men is breathe the idea that everyone is I support you, James. I support you. I support you no matter what you do. And then it's just this, it's this superficial, it stops us from being men. And what I freaking love about Dojo is that there is this group of men that have assembled, and I am not even the mightiest among them, which is freaking fantastic and terrifying at the same time, because the energy that's being brought is literally cracking each other open. And I don't know of another space around where you could do that, where you can do that kind of electrical work. And if you're curious about this, when I was younger, I worked in a wilderness camp, and I was given like free reign to warp the minds of children that were there as a last step before going to prison or juvenile hall or whatever you want to call it. It was some of them were adults, so it would be prison. Some of them were kids. It'd be juveniles, depending on their age and stuff. But because of this sort of last ditch program, for whatever reason, I had carte blanche. I could do whatever I wanted to do, and I was like freaking 24, 25 at the time. And I had complete reign. There was no supervisor. I was the supervisor. I had a medical bag around my back, and all they would do is fire me if I didn't have that medical bag. That's all they cared about. Was, do you have your medical bag? Yes. And sometimes they would inspect it. And they'd find weird shit in there. It's like, why are you carrying Indian money? And they did actually, all over Tennessee are these awesome little artifacts, and like in riverbeds and whatnot. And we called them Indian money because they were more valuable than money. We would trade them with each other because they had prana. They had historic prana imbued in them. We had our own prana economy built from that. All of the information, not even information, all the techniques that I employ when it comes to not only my live stream, but my books, but also the dojo, could truly be attributed to what I learned there in that space. It was about a year of just wild, mind-blowing, transformative alchemy, like psychic alchemy. And I forget sometimes, like with Benjamin Balderson, I forget sometimes that not everybody has those kind of skills. Not everyone works on that sort of part of them. Like they're wicked smart in other areas, but they just can't find the electricity, because anytime a hole has been exposed, a bunch of dickholes have been nice about it. A bunch of people have come up and been like, oh, it's not a hole. No, it's beautiful. Oh, this is great. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh. And you don't need pride. Pride goeth before the fall. You don't need ego. You need to kill that ego, brah. And it's this incessant need that we have on each other to reinforce the idea that none of us are magic, that none of us have this ability. And it's not only, it's not tragic because it creates a threshold. It creates a secret society that you enter into when you want to better yourself. Whether or not you want to admit it, you are entering into the realm of alchemy. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to tell you that there are 5 kinds of magic, and then I'm going to tell you that all 5 of those kinds of magic actually all rely on the same kind of magic, and that all magic is the same thing. And in order to get that, we're going to explain what isn't magic, because it'll help you understand that more. But first, I'm going to drink a cup of coffee here. Are we streaming on all platforms? I assume that Josh would have told me if so. In fact, let me get over here to the chat so we can see if anybody wants to see if they can set me off today. Yeah. Guys, if you're going to set me off today, I want to remind you that you're competing with some pretty epic, top-notch setting James off things that happened this week. So those of you who want to bring it, just know you're going to have to bring some serious heat this week, because holy smokes, the things I've been going through. Fepe the Penguin coming through. Secret Public Society for Life. Secret Public Society for Life. That's profound. I met Fepe in a parking lot. It was pretty sweet. I actually gave him some drugs. I don't know if he remembers that. Actually, I'm just kidding. I don't even know if it was Fepe who actually took those drugs, but there was an exchange. It was a nice, beautiful exchange. And I just implicated him in broad daylight in front of a bunch of people. That was probably not the smartest thing to do. Good morning, Mylan. Good morning, Tribe. Yo, fam. Good to see you, Fepe. Thanks for taking that. Is Shitmoth in the house? That's beautiful. There she is. Morning flat accord music. All right, guys. So why don't we get started? Anybody notice the thumbnail today? Anyone notice the thumbnail today? Before we get to the thumbnail, let's talk about the Magician card. If you don't know, the Magician card was featured on the Economist cover. The same cover as this wonderful book right there. Look, Magician. Look at that. Look, Magician, right? And notice the Eye of Ra Magician there has a VR helmet on. And that came from the Economist cover. But the traditional Magician in Tarot is the number 1. The 1 card. And I'm about to show you something pretty cool about this, which you probably already saw in the thing. But upright tarot meanings: power, influence, willpower. We're going to fix this in a second. Willpower, resourcefulness, skill, ability, logic, intellect, concentration, and psychic powers. Okay? The reverse of that: manipulation, greed, unused ability, untrustworthiness, trickery, conniving, cunning, lack of mental clarity. These would be aspects of this tarot. And I want you to look at this pose right here. The Saturday Night Fever pose of John Travolta. And I'd like you to realize that he is invoking the Magician. He's invoking that card. And when I say he, I'm talking about the archetype John Travolta. When I say the archetype of John Travolta, I do not know how many other magicians are involved with John Travolta. It could be 0. It could be 7. I don't know. But the archetype is so obvious, and I don't know how many of us see this. But he is evoking this card. And by invoking this card, he is actually using one of 5 types of magic. And that is the 5th type of magic, which is pranic magic. He is using the pre-charged In this case, yoga. We're going to call it yoga, but pose. He's invoking a pose that comes with a charge, and that charge is now surging through him. Here's where a lot of people who believe or don't believe in magic kind of like lose complete, in my opinion, connection to most of what magic is. Because in my opinion, this is not that because he strikes the pose, he therefore generates this powerhouse of energy inside himself. I believe it's more that he aligns his pose like an antenna, and that antenna collects energy as a result of his pose. And the reason why he does not shed that energy is because he believes in the pose. He believes in the fact that if he was to strike this pose, he would gather tons and tons and tons of magic, pranic magic, one of which would come from the woman in the red dress. It's all eyes are on me. And this comes from his belief that he's hit the pose correctly. If you've ever seen this movie, it's a fascinating movie. It's a guy from the Bronx or something, poor, struggling to get by. I think he still lives with his parents. They're yelling. It's kind of like Caddyshack, but with dancing. And you're watching him emerge as the magician. You're watching him learn to cast his pose, to strike himself in a certain way, to gather energy. And the entire thing, through the entire movie, what you notice is where his focus is. His focus is not on women. His focus is not on success. His focus is on flow state. It's on the electricity that he has while he's on the dance floor. And I would say most of the movie is sort of like a sad, somber feel to it, because you're seeing the loneliness of the hermit expressing himself through the electricity of what he wants, and as he struggles. And certainly there's triumph in this movie, certainly. I'm not trying to say it's a sad movie. I'm trying to say that you're seeing not only the hero's journey, but you're seeing the tarot journey that the magician takes through that realm of hermeticism. And we all do this, and it's one of these types of magic. Pranic magic, I understand archetypes and sigils and can tap into their power. But more importantly, it's sacrificial magic. That as you watch his character, he sacrifices everything else for this one skill. His wardrobe is impeccable. His grooming, his habits, his schedule, nothing comes in the way of what he's doing, and that's a sacrifice. And that sacrifice is truly underneath. Sacrifice and belief are the two main elements of magic. And you need both. Because if you don't believe that your sacrifice is a part of this, you're going to probably fall and turn it into victimhood. Your sacrifice will become victimhood. In fact, when you don't believe that your sacrifice is used for magic, the only choice that energy has is to mask itself as victimhood to your aperture so that you can see, and your neocortex will go, yes, I will shed this power. Because poor me, poor me, poor me, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. And every day we have an opportunity to gather more electricity, to strike the right pose, or lose that pose. Lose that energy. And that's why you see confidence and charisma come from those who can hold that pose. You're looking at the sheen of magic on top of them. You're looking at that outer coating of what it is. And you're probably not even watching this, but if you believe that magic is dangerous, if you believe that magic is evil, I'm glad that you feel that way. And I want you to know that you are committing magic too. That your anti-belief is the belief. And you're sacrificing your own power by saying, I do not mess with magic, which forces it to invert itself. Nice timing, buddy. Forces it to invert itself. And by you denying magic, you end up manipulating, greedy. You have unused abilities. You're untrustworthy. Your trickery, conniving, cunning, lack of mental clarity. I'm not trying to start a fight, but this is Owen Benjamin. Owen says, I never practice magic. Wizards are evil. Everything's bad. And that's why our own moderator still hasn't gotten his signed DVD. It's been over a year. He paid $100 for it. It's why there's such an attack on me and all the other people that have been there. It's his anti-belief in his magician. And it doesn't even force it. It simply changes that polarity to operate down below on this trickery realm, right? Where, no, God's in charge. I'm just treating you like shit, but it doesn't count because God's in charge. It's the in charge. In charge. I am not. My charge is not. It's out of me. This is his argument with morality. This is why so many got lost when I told you that you are the factory of morality, that electricity comes from you, which means you are a factory of immorality too, that you produce both of those widgets, and it's all 100,000% going to be based on the polarity that you give it with your belief. That if Owen truly wanted to not hurt someone, he would have apathy towards magic. And that anyone else who's afraid of magic, all you're doing is charging it more, that your goal should be to give it apathy. And that's a difficult skill. It's one of the hardest skills in the world. In fact, I think that apathy and amnesia are the same thing. And that we have praised and praised and praised and praised through 12 years of schooling your ability to remember something, to regurgitate something, to remember something, to regurgitate something, to remember something, to regurgitate something. And not one fucking time has anyone ever, not one teacher, not one preacher, not one psychologist, not one friend, not one mentor, not even one parent taught you how to forget something. Taught you how to develop apathy as a skill. And because none of us are taught this skill, people learn it anyway. And it becomes twisted. It becomes sinister, the same way wizard or magic becomes sinister to those who fear it. And the reason why I tell you all that witness, belief, these are the same thing, is a giant fog light. And you can't turn it off. Some of you are going to develop that ability once. I don't even want to develop that ability. And so I don't mind you saying, but James, I could develop fine. But until we're taught how to be apathetic, until we're taught how to develop amnesia, like in a healthy way, we're never going to get there, which means you might as well just focus on the fact that you have this infinite witness pouring out of you. And this infinite witness is what you're calling a soul, but literally it's a volume of water, holy water pouring out of you, and that's witness. It's a kind of water you can't see. It's a kind of water that isn't wet, but it's gushing out of you. And you can close your eyes and pretend that you're not worshiping, but it's coming out of your pores. You can wrap yourself in saran wrap. It's still going to get out. You can't shut your worship off until you die. And even then, everyone that venerates you is venerating what you worship. So you're always going to be this battery of worship that has residual energy stored in it. No different than an old television set in the forest where the capacitors are still full. So you might as well accept the truth of this and maybe even learn how to aim your fog light to a place that you consider worthy. And we do this. You aim it on your children. You aim it on your house. You aim it on your dog. You aim it on your partner. You aim it on yourself, hopefully. Unless we're watching the machine. unless we're aiming it into the abyss. You know what? I'm not going to call this the abyss because the abyss is beautiful. Please forgive me. Major dojo foul. We're aiming it into the machine. We're giving our worship to that place. And we pretend like it doesn't count because church told us that you worship in the house of worship, which means when you leave the house of worship, you are not worshiping anymore. You can do all kinds of bad things. You can drink, you can curse, you could swear, you can steal, you can commit false witness. As long as when you come back to the house, you acknowledge what you did, you pay a tax, and you move on. And that is magic. That is a magic of forgetting. That religion is one of the only fields that's trying to help you forget. Forgiveness is a kind of amnesia. And we put ourselves under contract when we forgive someone. And I've said this before. I think forgiveness is a virginity. I think you should hold on to it more. But our society teaches you to, no, forgive. And the more you forgive, the more you consent. And we already have this free-range hyena farm that we're living among, where people are allowed to come into a tribe and promise and claim, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to support you, and I'm going to give you the shirt off my back. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you that. And because he hasn't done that yet, everyone is still like, yeah, so it's great. And it's just like someone telling you what they're going to do one day. One day I'm going to sail around the world. You know, you're supposed to be all impressed. Oh, I'm impressed for that thing you didn't fucking do. And you end up with this pranic usury where you're having to pay someone for something they haven't even done yet. And the niceties of our society says, yes, you should extend that credit and pay that person and do it. Because by default, everyone has an 800 credit score. Not in the Babylon, totally doesn't work that way. You start off with a shitty credit score, but not here. No. In society, energetic work, everyone has an 800 credit score until you know them. Which means a stranger has a higher credit score than your best fucking friend. And that's how inverted we are. That's how twisted we are. And crazy people are people that simply act crazy to defend themselves from all the crazy around them. Which means if you do the math of that, you'll find out that it only took one person injecting crazy at just the right frequency to cause everyone else to act crazy as they recover from the craziness that's around them. Dissonance is a resonance economy. It's not a resource economy. And so is magic. And the society tells you magic is not real. And they never once try and tell you the dissonance is fake. No. They don't do that. Because they understand the resonance economy of that. And we're going to get to that resonance economy. Now, sacrificial magic, you're going to find out. In a second. Because I didn't have this in my notes. I want to make sure. Resonance versus resource. Resonance versus resource. Now, most people think magic is will. It's willpower. In fact, it is. I got no beef with that. You can convert 1 million blood cells, evaporate them into willpower in a split second, and use that force for something. And that is a powerful, powerful force. It is. But that's a sacrificial magic that's going to take your life force. Nothing wrong with that. But there's a whole other kind of magic, and it's alignment magic. And personally, I think this is really the only magic. That's just me. That's just me. I think that all magic is alignment magic. Good or bad, by the way. And just like John Travolta, the idea of putting yourself out as the right antenna with the right shape, you know? That itself causes an alignment to occur. I'm under the impression that each of us, with our 33 vertebrae, each of these vertebrae are not only twisted, but they're skewed. They have pitch, roll, and yaw. They're all just a little pitched, rolled, and yawed. And like any fine instrument, like any harp, each of these vertebrae can be in tune or out of tune, just like a violin, just like any other instrument you would have on your wall. And through time, through stress, through the changing of atmosphere, through age itself, these vertebrae can become untuned. And that when you find perfect alignment in those vertebrae, and it's not straight actually, it's a beautiful sine curve. If you follow your spine, it's a beautiful curve, like a whale or a dolphin almost, but vertical. That when you find that perfect alignment, you become polyphonic inside. Your breathing resonates through your bones. Your heartbeat bounces through your bones. Your delta waves, your brain waves, set into a rhythm that's congruent with the rest of you. Your heart can finally hear your brain can hear your lungs. All three of them can work together and reach alignment. And alignment isn't necessarily being in the right place in physical space, although that's very, very, very important. But the most of this magic is alignment internally. And that when you align yourself internally, the outside will be reflected in that, and you will find yourself in alignment physically. I lived in a place called Asheville for about a decade. And Asheville has a very strong propaganda cloud over it. And it's set in because everyone has dreadlocks, because everyone is greasy. And they think because the women have underarm hair longer than their knees, that means they're free. And that this freedom gives them this immunity from mind control and from black magic. And while I was there was a requirement on my spine. There was a requirement on my masculinity to be gelded. And I was accepted more by those around me the more I shamed the supremacy, white supremacy. The more I shamed self-supremacy, honestly. The more I represented myself as untrustworthy, the more I represented myself as racist, as xenophobic, as Republican. As anti-Republican, the more I was accepted into the group. In fact, that was the only way that I was accepted. And that I would find myself rebelling against these ideas sometime. And for years and years, I would curse myself for that. I never once assumed maybe I'm right. It took me forever. And it wasn't until I finally reached an alignment that I moved out of that town right away. And I moved up here to this mountain town. And trust me, there is some serious assholes around here. I am one of those assholes. So I'm not trying to tell you that where I live now is like super cool, because there's some weird stuff here. But it fits my alignment more. I do not have nearly as many social niceties that I'm required to fulfill for anyone. I don't have to lie to myself in public in order to be accepted. I do not have to lie to other people in public to be accepted. That this blanket I'm trying to explain to you is a form of magic. It's a form of collecting. And by you hunching your back over, I'd like you to imagine that all that energy is pouring up through your feet and following your spine and curving straight into the Kaaba, Mecca, into the central owner, the umbilical cord of that belief that you have. And as belief is pouring out of you, 35% of it goes into your kids right away. No problem. You're great. Maybe more of it's, maybe you're 65%. I'm just using these numbers randomly. 10% of that goes out to your business, to what you do for a living, maybe. Maybe 20% goes to your partner. Hopefully the rest of that's going to yourself, to just running your system, to being as clear and aligned as you possibly can. And in that alignment, you're keeping that energy, you're storing that energy, you're learning to collect it, and you're learning to expunge it. The reason why most parents fall out of this victimhood of the niceties of society is because they run out of energy. They can't afford it anymore. I can no longer afford to pretend to put up with your guys' bullshit. I need to put it in my kids right now. And they stop the shame vortex. They stop that. And either their spine will get straight or it'll get straight long enough for them to hump it over and bust it out into something else. That every single piece of what you do every single day is magic. It's the transactions of these things. And it's going to come out in one of these ways. You're going to think it's not magic. And that brings us to nosis magic. Nosis magic is the idea that I understand how things work. I'm an engineer of the world. And because I understand how things work, whether it be chemicals, whether it be levers, right? Whether it be compasses and squares, that having that gnosis gives you the electric charge to accomplish tasks that others could not. And those tasks aren't always taught. So you can't tell me, well, James, that's not magic, because you could be taught something totally different. But the electrical charge from when you learned how to change your brakes on your own car now gives you the confidence to repair a golf cart. You've never seen a golf cart. You've never messed with a golf cart. But for whatever reason, you figured out why it wasn't running. That magic is gnosis magic, and it comes through confidence. And that confidence is what? It's belief. Sacrifice and belief. And in order to get that belief that you could even accomplish, that you could even repair the golf cart, it required a sacrifice in one of these ways, and in that way it was gnosis. You focused on the engineering of things. And you could almost call this the same thing, but it's just different. It's important to distinguish it. There's empathic magic. I understand people. And I can simulate what they were thinking, what they might do. An empathic person is never going to be someone who is going to call someone else evil. You can't be empathic and call someone evil. That's why an empath calling someone a narcissist is not an empath. That's the antithesis of being an empath. An empath would look at the energy of that narcissist and say that person is asphyxiating. They're asphyxiating on love, on support. They need a core back. That's what they need. And there's nothing evil about someone that needs something. That's empathic magic. Women typically are really good at that, right? They're really good at that. They're reading through their feelings, their children's feelings. In fact, because women are so good at that, they're trying to make men better at that by not telling you directly what it is they want. Your dojo is your family. The ones that love you the most, that's your dojo. And a woman's job is to teach a man to be teleempathic. And she's doing a great job because it drives you nuts until you figure it out. She's pulling skills out of you that you as a man would never go in the garage and go, I'm going to work on my empathy. I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to put my kid inside this box. I'm going to see if I can feel how he's feeling in there. Like that's really not something that men do. Remember, the woman is the pool. The man is the obelisk. These different functions, unless you're living in a world where you think everyone should be equal, where everyone should be the same. And then, of course, there's the pranic magic, right? I understand archetypes, sigils. I can put on uniform, and I gain confidence from that uniform. I can have this credential I could put on a stethoscope around my neck. Yeah. And someone else will imbue that stethoscope like a relic. They will treat the stethoscope like a relic. And they will say, hey, doctor, what can I do to help myself? And the morality of that doctor means nothing anymore because they're an expert. And you will believe whatever that fucking doctor tells you to. That doctor tells you to cram something up your ass. You'll do it. You'll do it because your belief is based on the power of that relic, of those credentials. And those credentials are only real because you believe in Babylon, baby. Because just like I told you, when you get up in the morning, 30% goes here, 20% goes here, 50% here. Well, guess what? A shitload of it, 16.24%, just making that up, goes to Babylon. You believe in the system that uses this very magic against you. Against you, James. Yes, against you. It uses it against you. Now, this is Glinda the Good Witch. She's called the Good Witch, guys. The Good Witch. This bitch dropped a house on her sister and stole her shoes. And we still call her a good witch. And most people never even consider that. Most people are like, what else? She's a good witch. It's like, well, why'd she drop a house on her sister? Terrorism. Her sister was a terrorist. Her sister had COVID-19, and she was a narcissist, and she was a terrorist. And she was a Luciferian pedophile. And that's why Glinda's the good witch. She stole her fucking shoes. And she's the good witch. And we're surrounded by people that are like, yeah. Yeah, oh, that's the good witch. Right there. Oh, yeah. Totally good witch. Glinda. Look at her. Chick's hot. Of course she's good. Look at that. The other one's got a wart on her nose. She's got to be evil. And it's so pervasive that we don't even notice stuff like that. We don't even notice stuff like that. In fact, Disney itself is part of the suppression of magic, isn't it? Because Disney says there is no sacrifice in magic because all of magic is wishing. It's all wishing. And wishes require no calories. Wishes save calories. Wishes save a lot of calories because you can wish for something and then you could stop worrying about it. In fact, Disney tells you to do that. Wish and then forget. Okay. And if you really want to know what Disney's here for, it is here. Here's what's so twisted about it. If you understand Greatest Apocalypse Ever, you realize that it's actually not that Disney's like super evil. I don't mind you calling him super evil. I think what they're more doing is offering antenna for all of us to feel good. Now, I'm not talking about, oh, I feel good because you told me a story about Dumbo. No, I'm talking about that if they always paint magic and power and electricity as something that's childish, something that's glittery, something that involves zero sacrifice, something that is imaginary, that people who fear their own power will gravitate to that shit and they will lap it up like a bowl of soup. Because they will now be able to have a longer, a better, a more relaxed time at pretending that their magic is not real. They're pretending that their power of focus, of worship, of sacrifice, of alignment, of pranic energy, of empathy, of nosis, that all of those aren't real. That the world is much more material than that. That the world is much more based on the transaction of ball bearings. And it has nothing to do with belief. In fact, we say that belief is the enemy of knowing. We claim that belief itself is the thing that's hurting us all from understanding the truth. When belief is the ether, the etheric, plasmic fire we pour into our children, ourselves, our ideas, our drawings, our art, our live streams, our lovers, our food, our comments, our lack of nicety when someone needs to hear the truth. and that you're living in a superficial Lincoln log world, driving around in a plastic tank that came out of a cereal box. And these things are tangibly plastic and superficial because the under subterranean world of energy is screaming at you to see it. And you're blinded by the emotional feelings of it all. You think these feelings mean nothing. You think they're a transaction of your twisted self. Because if you were less this or more that these feelings would somehow magically change. When in fact the entire time these feelings have been electrical feedback, no different than curb feelers on a nice luxury sedan, that are giving you an indication of how close or far away you are from losing your shit, from meeting the woman that you're going to love for the rest of your life, or from unlocking and opening a door into another dimension. And that this fractal of life makes every part of this possible, but it's completely throttled by sacrifice and belief. And you have to have both. It's the only way it works. For the retards out there, you cannot sacrifice another person. Nor can you make a sacrifice of yourself for another person. That sacrifice you make for you. And if you want to find a way to make that energy flow in such a way where it's potlatch, where they may be able to grab it if they want to, that's fine. But you're not giving that to them because you don't have the ability to make them accept it. And I know this because I will go to a potluck and someone will bring Jell-O salad with marshmallows in it and pineapples. And not everyone will eat it. And that shows you that the amount of energy they put into it is different than the amount of energy others receive from it, which is why that sacrifice was their sacrifice. It wasn't done for you and for you and for you and for you. It was done for them. And this is the true, if this is confusing, I need you to look up the word potlatch, because we don't give gifts anonymously. In fact, by giving gifts with names on them, we completely ruin the power of gifting. Because by putting the name on it, we have a transaction now. I get this all the time. I mailed, if Kristen's listening, I love you, girl. I'm going to use you as an example because you write today. I think you're fabulous, by the way. I mailed you some magnets just out of the blue, right? And you weren't expecting them and you got them and you were like, oh my God, this is great. And your first thing was to ask me, is it okay if I mail you something back? And because I was drinking my coffee and I had a lot to type, I haven't answered yet because it's like, that's kind of a complicated question. And no, I don't want you to mail me anything back, Kristen, because if you mail something back, you ruin my magnets. I've already ruined it because I told everyone else here that I gave you potlatch. That it would have been even better if it could have been anonymous, but you're going to know they came from me. And if you give me something back, I didn't give you something anymore, Kristen. I didn't. We had a transaction, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. It's great. I'm not saying none of us should transact. No. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying that we've set up a society where this nicety requires us to completely, constantly short out each other's magic, to short out each other's gifts, whether it be speaking the truth, whether it be speaking in niceties, whether it be giving potlatch, all this stuff. And it's funny. I'm not here to even castigate it. I'm here to say, look. That's all. Look at how this works. And if you want to understand magic, all you're doing is looking at charge. Charge, guys. Just charge. And I'm showing you here the evolution of the alphabet. On the top, you see the hieroglyphics. This is the first Hebrew alphabet, in fact. Alpha to Omega. Goes through each steps, and you could see that changes to Phoenician, changes to Archaic Greek, changes to Latin, changes to Roman, and changes to modern Latin script. And that each of these things are symbols. They're not letters, they're symbols. They're symbols. I'm not saying you have to stop calling them letters, but just they're symbols. Everything's a symbol. Everything's a symbol. And these symbols have charge. You know that because at the very, very top left, you see a bull. It's a red bull. Then that bull got turned into a sideways A. And then A decided to turn up. And now we have that A today. And that A, whether you know it or not, is still charged with the idea of the bull. And you run through these letters and you see. And the reason why, even if you don't know that A is charged with a bull, the reason why it still fits with the bull is because you have to understand evacuated people. People who are evacuated will simply go along with the current. And A is a bull in the current of the zeitgeist. It's that way because if everyone just took a guess, what is A? I think A is a rooster. I think A is a peacock. I think A is a snake. I think A is a rhinoceros. I think A is a bull. That overall, the average, as you average out, the person who says it's the bull will have more electric charge because there are more people around him that believe A is the bull. And that the emptier you are, it's like dousing, guys. When you're dousing for water and you're holding those sticks, you hold it softly. You evacuate your grip. Isn't it funny? If you want to douse for water with those two wires, you evacuate your grip so that those two wires can flow with what's around them. And this is the current of nosis all around us, what we know. We pretend that that's knowledge, but it's not. It's petrified belief. It's petrified belief. We have venerated belief, that's wisdom. We have petrified belief, that's knowledge. We have fluid belief. That's you, baby. That's your plasma, that's your prana. So all these letters combined together are sending a charge. That charge has a certain je ne sais quoi. It has a certain energy to it, a subterranean energy that's underneath. I use the word evacuated a lot, and people freak the fuck out in comments. They're like, you're talking about having a poo. Which means that every single person in the Air Force now shits in their cockpit. If there's an emergency, they don't pull the ejection seat to evacuate the cockpit. They actually just take a dump. And what I'm getting at is that the people that they're coming into it with that charge, it already has that charge in them for whatever reason. It's probably because the last time they heard that word, someone said evacuate their bowels, so they just assume that means, oh, it's always this and this. Do you see how those two things are charged next to each other? They charge it. That evacuation, because of the phrase evacuate your bowels, that means the word evacuate is associated with poo. They're linked together. And if you don't have enough autonomy, enough electricity to call language your own, and most of us don't, most of us insist that language doesn't belong to us, that there are experts that tell us what words mean and we have to listen to them. In fact, some people have accused me of changing the meaning of words, and I've never once changed the meaning of a word. I've changed your relationship to it. Ego is heart energy. No one says it's not. Just because you shit on ego, though, doesn't mean that I think we should have that definition on that word, that meaning, that understanding on it. Your relationship to the word of ego is what I want to change. I don't want you to change the definition of anything. Why? Because I don't want to compete with the flow. Because it's a waste of calories. I can't do that. Certain things I will compete with. I will fight tooth and nail to save the archetype of Prometheus and Lucifer. Why? Because I know what it's like in the pit, and if we don't have a ladder to get out, people who want to get out aren't going to get out. And the people that want everyone else to stay in, they're going to go, Lucifer and Prometheus are evil, and anyone who's wanting to see things is clearly just a homosexual. You end up with that stupid shit. That dissonance. All these things require magic. And it's the very people that are insisting you have to reject magic are the very people in the bottom of the pit saying, stay with me. Let's put some lotion on our skin. Come on. It saves us so many calories to ignore our power, to claim we're not magic, to claim magic is even dangerous, to claim magic is even dangerous. When God gave you the tuning forks of magic. He gave you magic. He installed magic in your voice box, the two towers, the vocal folds of your skin. Those two towers are the vibrating reeds of resonance. Resonance. And magic is a resonance economy. James True will say, shut your whore mouth, Babylon. And if it's funny, if it makes someone smile, someone else will say, shut your whore mouth, Babylon. And someone else will hear that and go, that's funny. And they will say, shut your whore mouth, Babylon. And that is resonance. And each time someone else says, shut your whore mouth, Babylon, I don't have to get a phone call saying, yeah, we need you to say, shut your whore mouth, Babylon, because someone else is going to say it again. And I have to stop what I'm doing and say, okay, hang on, let me shut your whore mouth. It doesn't work that way. It's resonance. Which means 1,000 of you right now, if you wanted to, could say, shut your whore mouth, Babylon, and it would prove what I mean. That's a resonance economy. And a resonance economy is completely different than a resource economy. A resource economy is based on the myth of a finite amount of credits, pranic credits that we call money. And these pranic credits are the most superficial, dry, whorish thing you could ever imagine, because it doesn't matter who you give them to or who they're from or what they're worth. They're always worth exactly the same, no matter what you did to get them, no matter how you got them, no matter if you stole them, no matter if you took them. $1 is always worth $1. And it's never worth more. I cannot vibrate $1 and have your dollars vibrate. And the whole time we're insisting that this shit doesn't grow on trees. It fucking grows on trees. And it shows you how bad the magic is. The magic works so bad that people will insist that money doesn't grow on trees. And it fucking grows on trees. And that's the black magic. You guys might think black magic is like evil, satanic, like the chick with the wart on her nose sends flying monkeys out to throw poo on people. And that's pretty fucked up. But that's not the definition of black magic. Black magic is ignorance, my friends. Black magic is not knowing what you're doing to someone else. This woman that I love, she calls me from another man's bed. She's inside his silk sheets. She's inside his sheets with no clothes on. And she calls me. And it's the blackest magic because she doesn't know what, she doesn't know, or she does know. I don't even know. But from her perspective, she's only doing that because she's hurting. But from my perspective, she's only doing that because she wants someone else to hurt. That she likes to toy with me. She likes me to imagine what it's like for her to be in someone else's bed while she calls me and tells me she loves me. And I'm supposed to believe that that's her loving me. And it's vitriol as fuck. It's so vitriolic because the guy she's with, I fucking hate that guy. I fucking hate him. And I'm still defending him. I told her when she called, I said, you got to stop fucking calling me. I hate that reptile you're sleeping with. I fucking hate him, but he doesn't deserve that. I could not imagine how crushed I would be to have someone like you in my bed, knowing you were calling another man. I would want to fix that. It's such a perfect vitriol. God, it hurts. And if I could develop amnesia, if I could develop apathy, I've been working on these techniques. This is all part of my magic, by the way. This is all part of my sacrifice magic. And she wants to rendezvous sometimes. She's like, she wants me to meet and help her cheat on him. And I don't do polygamy. I don't want a polygamy. Polygamy is evil. It's not even evil. Polygamy tears me apart. I don't know how anyone can be involved in polygamy unless you're addicted to electricity. And that means if you're addicted to electricity, you're going to abandon the person you're with to have the electricity. And I don't want to pretend like I'm connecting to someone that's abandoning themselves just to feel electricity. Electricity that fucking grows on trees. Yeah, electricity grows on trees. Because why? Because A tree has alignment. If it didn't have alignment, a tree wouldn't be that tall. And all this power is free. All this power is free, but we live in this resource economy. And she's in his bed because he lies for resources. She's in his bed because he knows he's supposed to be careful what to say. And she chooses him because he knows how to lie. And she can't handle me because it's so important to me that I point out all the lies and not even stop lying. Because I'm not going to sit there and say that I'm going to be the one that isn't lying. I'm not. Hopefully I'm going to be the one that's going to tell you first that I'm lying before you telling me. That's what I'm hoping. And all those are transactions. All those are magic. And it's all 5 types. This woman is fucking killing me. Because sacrifice, boom. Alignment, boom. Nosis, boom. Empathic, boom. Prana, boom. And I say the most awful things to her because I want it to sting, to be polygamous. I want polygamy to sting. I want her to go back to this awful creature that I hate because she chose him. And I want her to just be. Be in the relationship you choose. Stop pretending to live in some fucking tower where you're trapped. That's black magic because you don't know what you're doing. Sorry, I got way off track here. Black magic is when you don't know what you're doing. You don't understand what you're doing to other people. And the things she's asking of me, she doesn't even ask of me, but she's asking me to say horrible things to her. And I do, because I want her to know how much this hurts to do this, not just to me, but even to that fucking reptile she calls her lover now. And I don't even want her back. I don't want someone like that. I don't want to be with someone like that. I don't even know how someone like that can get up in the morning. And you want to help everybody, but you can't help everybody. Because not everybody wants to learn that. Not everybody wants to even work through that. I'm way off track here. Black magic is not knowing what you're doing. And anyone who's afraid of magic is practicing black magic because they're charging the evilness of it. They're saying it's all evil, it's all evil, it's all evil. And what they're saying is evil is more black magic. And you end up with this Glinda shit, like Owen. Owen Benjamin is Glinda, the good witch. You end up insisting you're right as you're cursing someone to hell. It's like, I banish you to hell, you cursed evil creature from my cod piece of righteousness. It's the Glinda thing. And Glinda's the blackest magic of them all because she drops a house on her fucking sister, steals her shoes, and smiles the entire time. She has no idea. It's why I love alignment magic. Because when you use alignment magic, you're not even really like asking the house to give you a profit. You just want to be in the right place at the right time. And that means vitriol too. When I cast vitriol on the fire, it wasn't like willpower magic where I called in all this magic will. No. What I said was, in front of all these witnesses, I said, hey guys, because I'm calling vitriol, it means if bad shit happens to me, like this chick was to call me like inside these silky sheets and tell me how much she wants me, but she was inside someone's bed, that I don't get to be a victim about it because I'm calling vitriol into my life. That's the true magic of it all. I'm utilizing the power of witness because it's other people's belief that I jack into. And that's why all this amazing stuff has happened to me since then. Some of it has been absolute explosions, right? Like landmines going off. But I'm still alive. Not only that, I got a book. I mean, things are great. Things are great. Even when she's calling me from a $5,000 couch. where she's sleeping now because she can't sleep with him in his own bed tonight, but she could last night, and she will tomorrow night, and she will the night after that. And I'm supposed to somehow give her comfort for that, for the suffering she's doing on her couch. These are all belief technologies. And if it wasn't for her, I would have no idea how fucking vulnerable and retarded I am. She's the only one that could show me that part. It's the only one. I'd be walking around thinking I was a badass, thinking I was like, oh, I got no vulnerabilities. I'm Owen Benjamin. I don't commit no bad stuff. I'm just dropping houses on people. No. That's why I love alignment. I love all this stuff happening to me. Even this. And in the dojo yesterday, I was feeling this. I was feeling this because I was watching someone else betray what I thought was us. We'll talk about it in the dojo today, but it's all surging through. And that authenticity is all I can cling to. And I'm going to go in dojo today and apologize because there's certain behavior that I have that's just like way off. You know, I'm not even going to apologize. I'm going to own it. I say apologize like they're going to forgive me. It's not even their obligation. It's not even why I'm doing it. I'm more doing that to myself. I'm going to use their witness to listen as I call myself out, as I notice something about myself, Anyway. All this power is in us. And the alignment, man, that just makes it flow. It's like this. You know, if you're using will magic, you might say, I want to hit a home run. I want to hit a home run. I'm Babe Ruth, and I'm going to use my magic, the magician. I'm going to raise my hand in the air. I'm going to call the electricity. And I'm going to hit a home run. And that willpower magic is great, I guess. I think it's bullshit. And I'll tell you why. Because when your will is involved, you start to paint a picture of what the future should be. And you miss the possibilities. Because the magic that's come into my life is always 10, 20, 1,000 times stronger than the magic that I tried to predict into my life, or I tried to call into my life. That truly the most magical thing I can do is be in the right place at the right time with the right alignment. Because then things you would never, ever, ever, ever expect to happen start happening. Like this. Do you see that? Let me make it a little bigger. Here's a kid wishing that he hits a home run. He's not wishing he hits 2 home runs. He's wishing he hits a home run. And on his swing, he hits 2 balls, not 1. That a foul ball from another field comes onto his, and he hits it. Guys, that is alignment magic. That is the magic of alignment. And all the willpower, all the sacrifice, all the nosis, all the empathy, all the prana in the fucking world is never going to top that. It's never going to happen. And the beautiful thing about kids is they haven't been stupefied enough to turn that off. In fact, that's what Disney's doing, isn't it? That's why Disney's appealing to them. It's telling them at a very, very young age. It's all wishing. Just wish. Just wish, just wish, just wish. And this vacuum of space they're painting is there to suck all that power right out like a vacuum. Just don't worry. Any of you have power that you don't want to claim, just wish it away. It'll collect in the ether and we'll suck it away and you won't have to worry about it anymore. Don't you worry. It'll be there. You won't have to have that power anymore. And that's why we're naive. Someone wrote me today going, James, it makes no sense why anyone would be naive. You could be stupid, you could be smart, you could be intelligent, you could be strong, all this, but naive, there's no benefit to being naive, but there is. Because naive shows you the weaknesses where you are. Naive is the ultimate gift of all, isn't it? Naivete is the ultimate gift of all. In fact, the foundation where you build your gnosis from is going to be on a bed of naivete. That's your pumice, that's your bottom soil, not your top. But you need that naivete to build every single thing else on top of. And he asked about the fool too, because also the fool, but Guys, playing the fool is the only time, when you see someone playing a fool, it's the only time in the world you're watching humanity be fully authentic. Now, I'm not talking about feigning the fool, because you're not the fool if you're pretending to be the fool. I'm talking about authentically playing the fool is a glimmer of what it's like to be man, to be fully authentic. And the fool is not embarrassed, because the fool has this power I keep telling you guys about, a power more powerful than all the magic in the world. It's the power of abyss. Because the fool doesn't have to forget what he does. The fool doesn't know. And that's truly why that card is so powerful. I would call the fool more powerful than the magician. Maybe not more powerful. I would call it more invincible in many ways than the magician. Because they don't have to find abyss again. They don't have to find amnesia again. That they're living in that state all the time. Like this woman that calls me. She'll hang up and forget. It won't bother her. And in 30 days, when she has her next cycle, she'll call me again. And I hope to God I won't answer. Because she has that power of being the fool. I don't. I haven't learned how to amnesiafy myself yet. If anything, I've learned how to remember things more. I'm going the wrong way here. Let's end it. I know we're not. I haven't done grievances. We'll do a grievance. Sorry. People have actually asked for, which I love, by the way, the airing of grievance and the watering of praise. And we're working on that. And actually, my graphics department is already giving me graphics. And dear graphics department, it's not that I don't love them. Actually, I freaking love them. I have this other idea that I was going to use for him, and I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. That's why. But let's see. Are there any grievances? Does anyone have any grievances today? James, getting it? Oh, I get it now. That part I need to book, kind of sad, but really awesome. It takes a lot of control. Okay, these are good conversations, but I can't read them all to catch up there. In Shakespeare, the fool is the one that speaks the truth, even to the king. Very good, frying pan. The fool doesn't know the consequences, does he? Which makes him so powerful. So brave is probably a better thing. Non-attachment outcome is willful apathy, says Baphomet. The fool is transmutation, says Nosis PG. Hit that bitch with a steel chair, says Jesse James. If the king gets... I did. Jesse, I did. I hit her with a steel chair because I told her... I told her awful things. I tried to convey to her how much this would hurt and destroy someone that was broken, that was not as put together as I am, is what I told her. And I did it in a very, very cruel, I did it in the cruelest way possible. And I still feel that. And I can't tell you how I did it, but I did it in a very cruel way. And I'm still, it's like there are these people in my life, and I know that the reason why they drive 2,000 miles away, the reason why they call me no matter what I say to them, the reason why they call me with this vitriol is because they know I'll hit them with a board. They come to me for that. And they're all making me bulletproof. And I don't want to be bulletproof. I will, because you guys are going to make me that way anyway. But man, I really liked me when I wasn't bulletproof. I really liked that guy. And everyone just, it's going to sound so victim-y, but everyone just kept shitting on that person. They were just like, fuck that guy. I want to see you bulletproof. And it's cool. Thank you for calling me in the silk sheets of a fucking reptile that doesn't even know that fucking humans are only one of 4 animals that have pores all over their body. I'm sure how wise he is will just keep astounding, everyone. Anyway. Any more grievances? Oh, I can't wait to sign off here so I can stop saying this shit. James True, whoop whoop. Thanks, Jesse. My sausage is almost gone. That's a terrible grievance, Pingling. I hope it works out. I know stuff, lots of stuff. Still the fool, never fear anything, says GMW. I appreciate that note you sent me, GMW. James Ungelded. Yeah, but have I ever been gelded, guys? Have I ever been gelded here? Maybe, but I don't know if I've ever even been gelded here, so... You're looking in the wrong place, James. You ain't kidding, Gaia. I'm not even looking, Gaia. Gaia, I'm not even looking. In fact, I'm throwing feces at these people as they come to the door. And they want that. They want these boards to the face. So I don't want to be with someone like that. I don't want to be with someone that would be in the bed of another man and call... Who wants to be with someone like that? I don't even think you can be with someone like that. It's gross. Yeah, there's a dojo today. It's at 12:30. It starts in 18 minutes. I'm looking forward to you guys getting there. If you haven't signed up for dojo, you could do that now, and you'll be logged in time. I'll be watching the email. So even if you come late, we'll get you in. Massive day yesterday. Holy shit! I'm hoping we'll talk about that. I bet we will, because Benjamin Crossland is moderating, and I'm looking forward to that. I know, right? Doesn't even know that. But she says that he's the expert on all things chill. And he's telling her, yeah, if you shove this stuff up your ass, the demons that are possessing you, he's told her that demons possess her intestines. And that the only way out of it is to keep cramming things up her ass. It's disgusting. It's gross that she believes that over me. Like, out of all the choices she could choose, it's like, yeah, James, I really like this other thing here. It's so much better. And it sucks. My grievance is that you keep fucking talking about your former love interest and repeating yourself about it over and over. Jeremy, you don't belong here then, because this is James Unchained. This is my authenticity. In fact, my grievance is that you would not enjoy that authenticity. But, you know, that's probably why I have shitty numbers and viewers, because I keep not giving you what you want and just keep giving you authenticity. I think it's an important part of magic, what I talked about today. I hope that me explaining that shows you how each of us are wrapped in our own vitriol, and all it does is get harder, in my opinion. And the fact it gets harder is just showing you that you're able to pull more weight. But, man, that sucks that I can't talk about love life on my live stream. What are the topics I'm allowed to talk about exactly? Should I just go to trending, Jeremy? Should I go to trending on Twitter and just see what's trending and say that's what I'll talk about? Because if I go there, do you realize how stupid the things are that are on the topic right now? There's a black Batwoman, guys, and she has crimped hair. And everyone says that it's about time. And there's photos of Batman with his thumbs up saying, yeah, I approve of this message. Is that what we want to do? People want authenticity up to a point. They want to look down off the 100-foot diving board and feel the surge, but they don't want to jump. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You could just turn me off. There's a thought. You could just turn me off. But I appreciate the authenticity, because honestly, that's good. That's good vitriol for me to be told, yeah, you should stop being authentic. That's good vitriol. It's telling me I should only have entertaining I should only have entertaining vitriol, and that's fair. It is an entertainment show. All right, guys, puppies. That's an excellent answer. Excellent answer. Guys, we'll see you in the dojo. Looking forward to it. James, do you think he stands over her after and yells, I have exorcised the demon like Ace Ventura? You know what's really sick about this? And Jeremy, could you just fuck off? Because I really want to talk about this. Can you just fuck off? What really sucks about this? What really sucks about this is I'm pretty sure he knows that she talks to me. And I'm pretty sure that he knows, not only does he know that she talks to me, but he knows that she only talks to me when she's on her period. And I honestly think that fucking reptile looks at me like his pool boy. Like I'm there to come clean up his lover emotionally. And I think he probably giggles about it because he doesn't have to do that anymore. And I can't think of a live stream where anyone would fucking tell you that. How bad that makes it feel. how much that cuts. But that's where you get as you raise up to those kind of vitriols, as you increase to that. If you can understand that, you'll see why polygamy is such a cancer. Thank you, Chrissy. Jeremy, fuck off. Just go away. There, I'm being authentic too. Fuck off. This is important. And I don't need someone telling me how I shouldn't be talking about it. So fuck off. Because I want you guys to know how much polygamy corrodes all of us. Everyone around. And polygamy is all about electricity, isn't it? Yeah, he probably gets off on it. I think he does. And at first, I know you guys maybe can remember, but I was like taking all the correspondence she was sending me and sending it directly to him. Like, look, this is what she's saying. And I used to think that bothered him, but I realize now it just makes him feel better. It makes him realize he doesn't even have to connect to her that way, that he can just trade dick for rent. And I realize how shitty all this sounds, but so many relationships, that's what it is. That's what it is. And I don't mind that, because I think people should be able to have those kind of relationships. But when they're reaching out to me, asking me to help, I don't have to do anything, but the vitriol makes me try and find more electricity so I can figure out exactly what to say and how to say it. How do you even deal with that? Because all I can do is just keep making it more expensive. But all he's going to do is keep making it cheaper for her. He's making it cheaper for her to evacuate herself. I'm making it more expensive for her to evacuate herself. So who do you think is going to win long term? I think that it's like a fucked up contest between whether she's going to be evacuated or full. And I know a lot of you guys are going to come in and go, oh, so you're a rescuer, so fuck that. Fuck you guys. People are allowed to rescue other people. I rescue cats. I rescue kittens. I rescue groundhogs. I've been in AA meetings. I don't even participate in AA, but I wanted to know how counseling works. And so in college, I was going to AA meetings. I watched people get rescued all the time. Why the fuck are we pretending that anyone who's trying to rescue someone is clearly in a codependent relationship and they should just move on and not talk about it? You mean to tell me none of you guys sit there and think about a friend that you think's lost, that you think's like really there and they keep coming to you for help? I'm not talking about people you're not involved with. People keep coming to you for help. You don't sit there and spend calories trying to figure out how to fix it, how you can help, what you can say, how you can create your own resonance economy through magic and rotate your spine, and that spine is enough to where it becomes addictive to someone else and they resonate and they resonate. Isn't that what you do when you walk into work? Isn't that what you do as a waiter when you walk up to your table? That you try and create a vibe, you try and create a resonance that's going to resonate with them. My resonance is authenticity. It's telling you the truth of things that I go through, the things I struggle with. And I've already gone no contact with her. I've already turned her down to meet her. So we're past that, guys. This isn't even about something salacious. It's about someone that keeps reaching out to me, and it's hard for me just to ignore it. All I can do is keep making it more and more expensive. It's the best try I have right now. And the cheapest, shittiest thing I could do is just stop talking about it. Maybe not have a show today because I don't want to offend someone or bring up something they don't want to hear. Fuck you guys. Sorry, but fuck anyone that doesn't want to hear that. Don't watch. It's so easy not to watch. Do you know how hard it is to come up with the electricity to even tell you this stuff? I watch this shit every day. It's not just me. I watch it with my friends. My old lovers call me. This one girl with her ex-husband. And she would just tell me what a shitty, evil person he was all afternoon. And I would just sit there and listen. And I would tell her, so he's about to come home and you're just going to ignore him until tomorrow. And you'll probably call me back again. And you'll tell me how shitty he is again. And the whole time you're telling me he's the shitty person. And that chick doesn't call me anymore. Joey, I don't think that she's even that super attractive. That's going to sound so fucked up. I think she's sweet. I think she's innocent. I think she's someone that's been abandoned her whole life. Joey, that's why I'm attracted to her. because she's been abandoned her whole life. And I've never seen how easy it would be for that to be fixed. And it's always going to come from her not hanging out with fucking reptiles. I'm attracted to those. I am. If I see someone that it's not even attracted, it's not even like a. That word probably sounds confusing because you might even think it's. I'm attracted to all kinds of people that are. Jason Day, I was attracted to. Meaning that as he was yelling at me yesterday, telling everybody I was Charles Manson, all I kept thinking is this: if we hit him right now, we can fix this. It's the same kind of attraction. You see the potential in someone. And when you see that about potential, you jump, man. You jump. And sometimes you see that potential, it jumps so much that it changes you and you can't stop. And yeah, this girl does that to me. The last time a girl did that to me was my ex-wife. It was like 7 or 8 years ago. And I've been told, oh, that means you can't get over your ex-wife. But that's not true, because before my ex-wife, there was this person named Paige who was a cello player. And I had all kinds of relationships in between. It's not like this is what it is, but there's just certain times where you see someone that they're right there on their precipice. They're right there on the edge. And because you're using your empathic powers, I know Rachel feels me right now on this. Because you're cutting through the dark. In the darkness, you can see this person right there at the precipice of this pit, man. You can see them. And they're looking at you and they're like, if you step closer, I'm going to fall in here. I'm going to jump in here. And you can't turn away. You're pouring all of your witness into that. Because if you could save that, it would change the entire universe. The entire universe would change if that person would not fall into that pit. I don't know why we shouldn't talk about stuff like that. Because those are real. To me, that's more important than my job or my book or my sales, or it's what happens with each other. And how deadly Babylon is. It's so tempting that people would rather have that than me. This is what I tell myself. You know. And it just shows you how strong it is. Anyway, I gotta jump into dojo here. Probably gonna have to apologize to Jeremy. I don't know though, because fuck that. This is my show. I should be allowed to authentic. I'm glad that he said he didn't want to hear it. That's actually great. But I'm glad that I said how much I didn't want to hear him saying he didn't want to hear it. So who knows? I'll process that anyway. If I need to apologize, I will. Just know that. Jason, I see you in the chat, buddy. You shut everyone off yesterday. You blocked everyone. You quit all communication. And that was right after you telling everybody you'll always support us. So it's kind of hard to even take you seriously right now, dude. But it is interesting to see you here. Thank you guys. Thanks for being here. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Halloween. Have a great fire. I'm going to have a great fire tonight. I hope you guys do too. And yeah, let's, I guess I'll be thinking about what I said. Right now, I don't know what I said. So if you're wondering why my reaction isn't stronger, it's because I haven't reflected yet on what I just said. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for being here. James out.
just need to call